Happy Wednesday, everybody, or as some people would say, happy hump day. I have about 20 minutes, if that. I really don't have a lot of time. I understand a lot of you all prefer it if I give you all the longer videos, but I have a lot of other things that I'm working on. I plan to have a Will Smith video out for you all by tomorrow. And I have two Patreon videos that I'm working on, two Patreon exclusives that I'm working on that I really don't have enough hours in the day to get out. But I really wanted to get this video out because this is important. This is very important. So many of you all will remember that about a couple of weeks ago, I dropped one of the more emotional videos that I've ever dropped on this channel, talking about Ben Shapiro and why he sees Candace Owens as a slave. And to save us the time, I've already linked it in the description if you want to check that out. I don't want to repeat a lot of things that I said in that video. I watched Candace Owens' live today, as I'm sure many of you all did as well. And let me start off by saying I'm proud of Candace for sort of speaking out about some of these things. I understand that, once again, many of you all still hold out the possibility that Candace Owens can be controlled opposition. I get it. You have good reason to believe that because Candace Owens, despite the fact that we agree with a lot of things that she says, she is a very popular person. You know, she gets a lot of support from the algorithm. She does. So I understand if you hold that position. But for the sake of this episode, we're going to address these things at surface level. I do believe that Candace Owens' life is in danger. I think she knows that her life is in danger. Because I believe, and I'm going to just speak frank in this episode, because again, I don't have a lot of time. Everything I say in this video is alleged. If I had my allegedly shirt on, that would have worked perfect for this episode, but I don't know where it is right now. I believe that Ben Shapiro is a part of a network of people that is not just in media. I think it runs deeper than media. And I believe that Ben Shapiro's role is the same role that many people that are in Hollywood, the music industry, the healthcare industry, the banking industry, their role is to look out for their own. I believe that Ben Shapiro is just another arm of that. I believe Candace Owens, as I said in the video before, she was hired because she was already popular. And she was supposed to come in and you can talk about anything you want in your community. You can talk about so-called black people, brown people, black on black crime. You can talk about fatherless homes. You can talk about the government coming into the household. You can talk about feminism, modern day feminism, all of it. You cannot, no matter what, talk about my community, that being Ben Shapiro's community. I listened to Candace Owens today. As she shares, she says that people don't know about 99% of what she experienced in her firing process. Part of the infuriating part about that is I'm trying to pick my words carefully here, man. Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire have recreated a series, or I should say they have reopened Candace Owens' old podcast profile, and now she has revealed that people have sent her information where they were trying to get them to rehearse and try out for the position. And essentially this new podcast that the Daily Wire is rolling out is supposed to be pushing for people to make fun of Candace. All right. Many of us have seen it. But what people need to understand about this is that, think about it. Why would a company be doing that? Because they're desperate. I don't think a lot of things are coincidences. Candace Owens revealed a few weeks ago that her life was in danger, and one of the people that was involved was an Israeli hitman that was allegedly out to unalive Candace Owens. what's the likelihood that Ben Shapiro may or may not have had something to do with that? I'm not saying that he did. When you fire a person, you're supposed to move on. They have fired this lady, and then they've worked behind the scenes to try to get her blackballed, to sue her, to bankrupt her, all these things. Why would you be doing that? Why are you so obsessed with this person? Because what was supposed to happen was you were supposed to fire her. She was supposed to fall off by the wayside, and she was supposed to try to apply for other companies or to work with other people. And because you control so much stuff behind the scenes, you are able to control who they hire, who they don't hire. But instead, what happened was Candace Owens just went directly to the people, and she blew up organically. Ben Shapiro has become less and less popular, especially in the conservative movement, over the past 2 years. We don't like the guy. We don't like him. And it's only continuing to decline. So if you can't pow Candace, or you haven't been able to so far, if you can't bankrupt Candace as of yet, every episode she drops, everybody's tuning in. Despite this push for you all to make us believe that she's so hated. So what do? If you remember, Charlie Kirk held that position as well. As a reminder, I'm going to show you all what happened right before. Many of us have seen it. But let's see the very last interview on the Charlie Kirk show. To my understanding, if I remember correctly, this was the last guest on the Charlie Kirk show right before everything happened September 10th.
Team civilization here. We want to see the maniacs of Hamas be defeated. So we've seen news this morning that quite honestly I'm a little confused by, and I was hoping you could navigate it and help us understand, which is that Israel bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation. I just spent time in Japan, and one of the things that kind of looms over Japan is that Japan, they engaged in an unconditional surrender, that they said, we're done. And they laid down their arms, obviously, after the 2 atomic bombs. Very controversial. People have mixed opinions on it. I certainly do. But that it is unconditional surrender. Is that what Israel is aiming for here? I suppose that is a question that I get a lot on campus. What does success look like? Because I think we could all agree a long war is not good for Israel, a long, drawn-out war, and we're coming towards 2 years in about a month, so it's been about 23 months. So what does ultimate success look like in the Gaza Strip? What other feedback or criticism would you have about this situation? I know that it's impossible for anyone to listen to everything that you ever say, but looking at this from an American perspective, what else would you say things could have been handled differently? Maybe on the PR front, maybe also just on a conduct front. Where would you say, as an outsider, things that could have been handled better, more efficiently, or with more precision? A claim I receive often, and we're starting our campus tour tomorrow, is that Israel is committing genocide. How do you respond to that, then? Ben Shapiro, author of Lions and Scavengers. We're going to get to that in a second. I have 1 or 2 other questions on Israel. I think it's very important for our audience to hear this, though, because there is an incessant campaign. And one thing a friend sent to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we push back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing? We're running out of time here, but just last question on this, Ben. I know this might be a tougher question, but Bibi said, quote, I didn't like he said this, I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple of reasons. How did you analyze that statement from Bibi?
And it is totally fine to say to people who wish to destroy our civilization, no, your values suck and they don't belong here.
Where does all this resentment come from?
Now, there's a few things here I want you all to think about when you look at this interview. First and foremost, to me, Charlie Kirk seemed nervous. That's just my personal opinion. Charlie Kirk seemed nervous. The second thing is, well, before we move on to the second thing, you don't typically see Charlie Kirk that nervous when speaking to someone. But here's the bigger thing I want people to think about. What has Candace Owens been repeating over and over and over? That Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro weren't actually friends. So what was Ben Shapiro doing on this podcast? My point is, it's not that I don't believe Candace. It's just that if you're not friends with this person, why would this person be on your podcast? Similar to why and how Ben Shapiro just all of a sudden became a part of AmFest after September the 10th. Why? Why was he able to pay $1 million to join the AmFest lineup? He wasn't on there before. So what I'm getting at here is I just wonder if there's some bullying that's taking place behind the scenes. Candace has also shared that, in her opinion, well, she hasn't said her opinion. She said her, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, or her and Charlie Kirk were venting in New Mexico at some sort of retreat or something. And they were told that Ben Shapiro single-handedly played a role in taking down another company. I'm sure somebody in the comment section will help me remember the name of that company. I haven't had that much time, so I couldn't download clips from Candace's podcast today. Thank you. My question would be, did Candace Owens work for Ben Shapiro after that point? After she found out he was this evil, manipulative, despicable person? That's what I'm curious about. Here's something else I want you all to consider. Many people on this podcast has said that this is one of my best bodies of work. This right here is the Michael Jackson video. I would highly encourage many of you all to go and check this video out. I dropped it about 5 months ago. Something about Michael Jackson that you'll learn in that video is that Michael Jackson started to protest against the music industry. Now, my pushback to Michael is that he waited until things weren't going his way before he started to do this, but I digress. Michael Jackson started to push back against the music industry, and Michael Jackson had something called not a hit list, but an enemies list. And it was like 11 people on this list. About 7 of those individuals, maybe about 8 or 9 actually, of those 11 individuals were of a certain ethnic background. He said that they were manipulating him, trying to bankrupt him, trying to take his music, trying to take his masters from him. They were trying to steal. They were trying to ruin his life. They were trying to end his life. Also, as a side note, if you've been keeping up with my Diddy Chronicles, if you will, my P. Diddy videos, you will remember that the police officer that was on call, allegedly, for P. Diddy, whenever something criminal will take place, and there was a police officer or a law enforcement officer that would show up and make things right for P. Diddy. They would tamper and corrupt the crime scene along with this law enforcement officer. Well, this law enforcement officer was one of maybe 2 people present when Michael Jackson lost his life that day. All right. Again, this is going to be a very short live, but I wanted to bring this to you all just on short memory. Why am I talking about this? Who are these people behind the scenes that's controlling everything? Why is it that people tend to lose their life? Why is it that people tend to go bankrupt? Why is it that people tend to lose their organizations and their fall from grace once they go against these people? Who are these people? Right? Candace has mentioned Michael Jackson quite a few times. That is absolutely right. A lot of people also don't know that Michael Jackson's one of his sisters, not Janet Jackson, it was another one, was dating this very wealthy Jewish guy in Hollywood who convinced her to lie on her brother about things that Michael Jackson was allegedly doing behind the scenes to children. It wasn't until Michael Jackson had passed away that she came out and said that the things that she had said about her brother were not true. Who was her boyfriend or her partner or her husband or her fiance? Who was he connected to in Hollywood where he could convince this man's own sister to lie on him? Because Michael Jackson wouldn't continue to go along with their narrative. This doesn't absolve Michael Jackson of being an innocent person. I do believe that Michael Jackson was an occultist. But that doesn't change anything about what I just said. Right? I also want to remind people, the reason why this video is titled Candace Owens' life is in danger is because when you have a person like Ben Shapiro willing to go to this length, that is an angry person. He's angry. He fired you. That should have been enough. Shut up, Candace Owens. Stop investigating this, Candace Owens. You mean to tell me the interview clip that I just showed you between Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro takes place? Charlie Kirk goes on tour the next day. Everything takes place. Now, I told you my position. I'm 50-50 on him staging it, but this would have been his reason. I think that Charlie Kirk knew what was going on, which is hence why he was warning people behind the scenes that they were going to unalive him. Right? But again, Ben Shapiro is not the only one. Matt Walsh. Candace won't go that far. She don't have to because she calls Matt Walsh her friend. I don't believe that Matt Walsh is her friend. Matt Walsh is a coward. I want to show you all a tweet. Let's see. Let's see here. Let me see here. I'm going to show you all the tweet. This is a tweet from my show. Shout out to Baron Coleman. Baron Coleman tweeted, okay. Here's a tweet from Matt Walsh. He said, here's the first tweet back in June of 2025. He says, we've spent the last 25 years bringing, quote unquote, freedom and democracy to countries around the globe, while our own country has been systematically invaded, and now our largest cities are run by foreigners and communists. If you want to know why I'm so avowedly non-interventionalist, this is why. Fast forward to January 4th, after we just did what we just did in Venezuela, Matt Walsh quotes, this is a war for oil. First of all, the war lasted 90 minutes. Second, going to war to secure vital resources for your own people is totally legitimate. Why should we allow some third world communist crap hole to control trillions of dollars worth of oil? The hypocrisy. These people call themselves Christian. Barron subtweets him, quote tweets him, this tweet here, and says, this is exactly what I've been saying. Something has happened, referring that something has happened to Matt Walsh. Matt, if you need help, blink like Gary, learning live on air that MPs at Fort Huachuca called Mitch's son on September 9th. Well, shout out to Barron Coleman. I subtweeted Barron, and I said, Barron, Matt Walsh doesn't need help. He's a grown man that's more than capable to speak for himself. He's a paid shield that cares more about hating on anyone who isn't a white conservative or Jewish. That's simple. He's a complete disgrace and is constantly humiliating and contradicting himself to prove just that. Sneeko has also done a great job in exposing Matt Walsh as well.
Okay, Matt Walsh, you keep calling me stupid, but you ran from a debate. You're running away. If I'm low IQ, then why are you not able to have a conversation with me about Israel and their influence in America? One, we know it's because you're a little good goy for your boss. Two, it's because you will get exposed. You suck at debating. You got demolished by that guy when you tried to talk about Haiti. I don't like Haiti because not realizing the effect that Americans have had in Haiti. You look stupid. You don't know anything about foreign policy. Second, you're just not allowed to. You switched up your whole identity was about how foreign policy should not make the same mistakes. How we went into Iraq and Afghanistan and took up our economy. Okay, then apply that same logic right now. And yes, we're in favor of America exerting its power to advance its interests. Okay, you're anti-interventionist. But now, yes, I'm in favor of exerting its power to advance its interests. Okay, but we're not in favor of other countries advancing their interests at our expense. What, because he was selling cocaine? You think that was what it was about? Wow, you got us. What an insight. That's because we're Americans and we actually love our country and want it to succeed, unlike this guy. I'm a real American. I want our country to succeed. You're selling out your own people, you fraud. Your race is declining because of frauds like you. Psyoping people to be simps for Israel while our country gets sucked away. There's a parasite eating away at our country. I care about this country. I'm the one calling out the real problem. You're a slave to it. Every time you open up your podcast and say this, slowly America erodes. The more billions of dollars go to Israel. Oh, the oil coming in. Where's that money going to go to? What about the troops that are going to die in Venezuela when they're stationed there? Because Trump wants Marco Rubio and the new Zionist president of Israel to control it. Are you going to say the same thing? What about the 80 civilians that died in Venezuela? Christians, Catholic, just like you. You going to say anything about that? What about the wife of Maduro? Kidnapped, captured, brought here, imprisoned. The Catholic woman, Catholic family. You going to say that we shouldn't go and steal, bomb, and kidnap other Catholics? You're not. You don't care about your people. You're a talking head for the Zionist regime, and you know it. I care about my country. I care about my country. And put this in the clip. Matt Walsh, you stupid dum-dum. They just allowed more Venezuelan refugees to come in. Yeah, I care about America. Unlike this brown guy. That brown guy doesn't care. Okay, well then learn how to make us some arepas, Matt Walsh. When all these Venezuelan refugees come into this country because of shills like you. Yeah, this is good. The Venezuelans are celebrating. They're going to be your next door neighbor celebrating. Goofy. Learn how to cook some arepas. Learn how to speak Spanish. Welcome your new neighbors in. You wanted to close the border? The floodgates are open for the Venezuelans now because of you.
Matt Walsh is a shield. I would love it if that woman stopped calling that dude her friend, because this is what I want you all to consider. Imagine you're working for a company. You're friends with a person that works at that company. And then this friend gets fired, which happens. Cool, whatever. You got your own family. I got my own family. I got my own life. But then you watch this employer fire this friend of yours by publicly humiliating that person in such a way that they describe it. They can only describe it as almost akin to, I don't know, what did she say? A slave hanging. Because I don't know, she was the only so-called colored black person there. They fire her in a way to humiliate her. You say nothing about it. I'm not saying put your job at risk because of what happened to another human being, but bro, say something. That's immoral, unethical. You watched them do that and you said nothing about it. Matt Walsh is a hypocrite. He's not friends with no Candace Owens. He's an opportunist that only cares about white conservatives in this country. That's a fact. He's petrified of losing his job. He's petrified of losing his life if he speaks out against the things that Ben Shapiro is doing. Now you're watching your employer behave in such a psychotic manner, recreating a show just to mock this former employee from 2 years ago. Why don't you say something, dude? Aren't you American? Then he gets on Twitter and says, people want me to disavow Candace, but I won't do it because she's my friend. So that's just as bad as the fact that you won't speak up for the woman because you know that the people that you work for are evil. You know that Ben Shapiro, the people he's connected to, just so happened to coincidentally be affiliated with very suspicious deaths. That's what you know. Charlie Kirk being one of them. And now they're harassing Candace Owens. That's what you know. You know that they're harassing that woman, and you know that that woman's having to do quite a few things behind the scenes to keep her alive. What do you say? What do? You log on online and then continue to tweet propaganda, lies. You're all about being anti-interventionist until it benefits you. Hypocrite. This dude is a hypocrite. Ben Shapiro, the purpose of this live, because I have to go. I don't want people to underestimate how powerful Ben Shapiro is. I think people listen to Candace, and I think part of the reason she can't help it, I think, is because she's a woman. So the way she presents it can almost come off as gossipy sometimes. But lo and behold, you don't need to take lightly what this woman is saying. Ben Shapiro would love it, and I would not be surprised if he's already taken measures to get this woman up out of here, if you follow my drift. I would not be shocked at all. What he's doing right now is because he hasn't been able to permanently shut up Candace as of yet, if you catch my drift. So he's going to these other measures. Something that you all don't know about me is I love watching crime documentaries. Something that happens a lot when it's realized that the person that passed away was unalived by their spouse or their ex-spouse. Something you will notice is that there is a series of events that take place beforehand. The behavior becomes more and more psychotic to the point where the victim has filed police reports, restraining orders. They've went to family members. They've done everything in their power to make sure everybody knows, look, they won't leave me alone. I've moved on. They said they didn't want to be with me anymore, or I said I didn't want to be with them anymore. Move on with your life. But they're harassing me. They're making posts nonstop on Facebook, on Instagram. They're DMing me. They're reaching out to my friends and my family, telling them to stop talking to me. Somebody cut my tires the other day. I can't prove that it was him, but I believe it was him. This is what's happening. Ben Shapiro is jealous of Candace. She wasn't supposed to be this popular. Ben Shapiro is jealous of other people in the movement because he can't buy his way into popularity. He can't trick people into liking him anymore. So he's looking at Candace, who he's always seen beneath him because she's so-called black. It's a part of his religion. Make no mistake, Ben Shapiro is a white dude. He can call himself Jewish, whatever. He's a white dude. I understand that he sees himself separately from white Caucasians. I get it. From Europeans, I get it. But from my perspective, Ben Shapiro is a European white person. He looks at Candace as beneath him. He looks at Candace as someone who's not intellectual enough, who's not capable enough, who's not deserving enough to have a popular, booming platform. If there's a way that he can make her accidentally disappear, Ben Shapiro will do that. Make no mistake about it. If it means shutting up the number one podcast in the world, or somebody that was just once the number one podcast in the world a few weeks ago, you don't think Ben Shapiro will do that if he can get away with it? Of course. Of course. I've connected some dots in this episode for you all to be able to connect some things without me having to say it, such as the Charlie Kirk Ben Shapiro clip. There's a reason I played it. Hopefully, many of you all will be able to catch the reason why I played it. Because regardless of what happened to Charlie Kirk or what happened with Charlie Kirk that day, I have a feeling that Ben Shapiro knows way more. That's why he wants people to shut up about it. That's why you would come out with a show to try to counter what Candace Owens is doing. Well, Candace Owens is constantly trending in the algorithm. What if we recreated her podcast? It's only the Candace Owens podcast with millions of subscribers, so people have no choice but to see the episodes. It's brilliant. That's how they're thinking. It's brilliant. We make fun of her, so that way we can plant that seed in some people's minds. Well, maybe she is crazy. Maybe she is reaching. Maybe she is making this up. Maybe there isn't anything there, but we're not stupid. We think for ourselves. We know that what happened with Charlie Kirk that day isn't what the Fed's telling us. Whether the man is alive or not, it's not what they're telling us. Ben Shapiro is doing all the things that an ex-psychotic spouse does before they go to the ultimatum. Then it's going to be on the public to try to figure out all the clues and evidence to support the claim that they did this. And they're the reason why this person is no longer alive. Hop in the comment section, man. Let me know what you all think. I have to go. But I watched her episode and I was like, Candace got to be careful, man. Candace got to be careful, man. Seriously. Because my favorite show of all time is a show called The Wire. I do believe that The Wire is the greatest show of all time, and I don't think it's close. It's an absolute artistic and academic, not academic, but academy-wise, it's a tragedy that this show didn't win any Academy Awards. Why do I mention that? Because something you understand about this show is that the most successful people in the world are not always just the brightest or the smartest. They are the most ruthless. They're willing to do things that the average human either can do or can't do. There's a character on the show by the name, I think, Cuddy. Many of you out there watch The Wire know who Cuddy is. Cuddy was the one that got out of prison. He used to be in the streets. He had an opportunity to pow a kid, and he couldn't do it. He went to the boss man, Avon, and he was real about it. He said, it's not in me no more, man. I don't have it in me to do it. That put him at the bottom of the game. You're not moving up the ranks if you can't pow people, if you can't backdoor people, if you can't off people, if you can't rob people, if you can't sell drugs to people, if you can't harm people, if you can't run from the cops. If it ain't in you, this ain't the game for you. You're not going to win. Yes, I believe that's how the world is ran. Ben Shapiro is no different. That's why he will not debate Nick Fuentes. He's going to get wiped. Nick Fuentes is going to wipe the floor with him. It's part of the reason why Charlie Kirk didn't debate Nick Fuentes as well, just being real. There's a reason why Ben Shapiro will not debate a Candace Owens, even though she's called him and Jeremy Boring out multiple times. Immediately when she left, and she's done it since then. I call you all to a public debate. Yeah, that's right. Virtually or in person, where I can protect myself. But I can humiliate you in front of everybody because you have a losing argument, a losing stance. So when you have a losing argument and a losing stance, you resort to manipulation. You resort to violence. You resort to trying to get people permanently deleted or permanently silenced. It's no secret and no coincidence that somebody like a Ben Shapiro looks so evil in these videos. The dude looks evil. It's just what it is. We all see it. That's no coincidence. For the love of money, absolutely. Money is not the root of all evil, but for the love of money is the root of all evil. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for $2 super chat. They are from the center. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that. I 100% believe that. Dee, I love you and your work. Thank you for standing up for her. You're a great man. Stay safe. I appreciate that, Michelle. I'm standing up for truth. Dee, this is all spiritual, light versus dark, demonic. Absolutely. I 100% believe that. God bless you and all you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate that big time. Heck yeah. Y'all up in the comment section. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'll do a longer live probably tomorrow, probably an hour or two, so we can cover some other things. But I'm going to catch y'all in the next one, man. I'm sorry that this one can be as long. I got somewhere I got to be and some things I got to do. So I'm going to catch you all in the next one. Peace. Oh, yeah. Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate of UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to it. Talk to it. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you? Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.